everybody. Welcome to this evening. A random, what day is it? Wednesday. It's Wednesday. A random Wednesday show. Hopefully you can hear me this time. Hopefully we have no tech issues tonight. Cuz we have a verdict. We have a verdict. I said I was going to try and do a show the day we got the verdict in. And as it happened, it was the perfect day to end up doing that. So, welcome as you stroll on in. Let me know where you're coming in from. And yay, we have sound. I have confirmation that there is sound. This is why we love chat, because chat will tell you if you are not there, and if they can't hear you, and it leads to, all of the fun of the other day. That old stream is down. Have I time-stamped the other one yet so that you can skip past it? No, because I'm bad at timestamps. But, that's all right. We are here. So, I am gonna plan on this being a short show unless we get chatting, because that can happen. But if we don't get chatting, this is just going to be a short show. I'm going to go ahead and roll the intro, and then we are going to watch together again, for most of us, the verdict in this particular case. And then we're going to chat a little bit about all of it, because this is one of those weird ones where it's a win and it feels like a win for justice, except if you're anything like me, you have that nagging little thing in the back of your head that says, and unfortunately, we are just not likely to ever know what really happened to John. And that is its own little tragedy. So, good news, bad news. This was its own thing. So let me go ahead and roll the intro. We'll talk a little bit about this. We'll take a look at it. And then I will say, have a great evening, and we'll go all watch the other stuff. I hear 2020 is doing a thing. I'm sure everywhere is covering this tonight, including me. So I need to find the intro though. There we go. Hello and welcome to The Unfiltered Tea, a show where we say all the things you wish the newscasters said, unscripted and unfiltered. We talk about politics, pop culture, and courts, so pull up your soapbox, pour yourself a cuppa, and let's go. Let's go. I poured myself a little peach whiskey for this evening because, ah, this going through 2 trials was a lot. Like, I listened to trial for fun, but oh my. And then when it got down to yesterday, was everybody on pins and needles yesterday when the jury came back and asked the question that, shocker? Oh, right, count 2 and how you fill out the verdict form was confusing because there isn't like a clear spot for not guilty, which, fun fact, makes a lot of people feel better if that's how they're leaning. But then they deliberated, and then we got the verdict. So I think I have everything queued up. It was weird because everything was still running at the time that we were buffering. Sorry about that. Buffered in real time. Um Everything was still operational at the time that I was getting all the video and stuff like that together. So I think I have it queued up to the right spot. Let us hope. And yeah, Dad's got a bit of the good whiskey from Burns Night. If you don't know what Burns Night is, that's a whole different show. We will go over it. Trust me. So we are celebrating just a little bit of justice. Because here's the thing. I'm going to sidetrack for one moment. The thing about this means that on count 1, count 3, all the big counts, jeopardy has attached. So you know what can't happen now? The Commonwealth can't appeal this. Not in this system. So this is it. We are done She is done with this. She even got the sentence today. So let me see if technology will work for me in all of the ways. And I know, dead air. Dead air. Did I? Oh, and now I've done. Nope, not that one. That's the one I wanted. I had 2 screens pulled up because I couldn't tell which of the things we were going to do. So let us hit play. I think I have it queued up to the right spot. I do have timestamp. Oh, no, I think I have this queued up. I have this queued up at first to the false start, I do believe, because we're all waiting for a verdict today, right? And then everybody gets in and they go to court, and then it's like, oh, wait. The jury had a verdict, and then they said they didn't have a verdict. So we're going to take a little peek at that, and then I'm going to skip to the actual verdict.
We're going to go inside the
Let's
courtroom
see.
now. We can see that Judge Beverly Cannoni is back on the bench, and she's about to address folks in the courtroom.
All right.
Let's listen
I appreciate you all getting back here. During the luncheon break, I received word from a court officer that the jury had knocked on the door, indicating that they had a verdict. But before I could even summons everybody into court, shortly thereafter, they knocked again and said they didn't have a verdict. So,
because the verdict slips are confusing. And they wanted to do it right, which I appreciate.
I asked the court officer to tell them to put that verdict slip in an envelope and seal it. And
this is smart.
To us. Paul, do you have it?
So what they ended up doing, and I'll skip ahead to the verdict next, is that original item they put in an envelope, they sealed it. It's going to become part of the court record. Why? Because last trial, after everything, you had a bunch of jurors come forward and go, wait, but we didn't mean all. What? So, you can imagine what went through the hearts and minds of everybody on the defense team and everybody in the gallery and John O'Keefe's family when it was like, we had a verdict and then no. So now and now my timestamps are all wrong. So you're just going to have to bear with me while I find it. Nope, that's after. Oh, where did it go? Sorry, guys. This is what happens when I tried to get everything up earlier. There we go. Now we're almost there. Almost there. No, go back, Jim.
Yeah.
We are now going live.
There we are. Now, I got there. We are now at the point where this is the verdict. I know it's a little quiet. I have everything gamed up on my end, and I'm just going to try and be quiet myself while we let this play. If I hit pause, bring the volume down, because that's what happens when you do things on the same day.
Will the deliberating jurors remain standing? Defendant remain standing? All other parties may be seated.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that 12 deliberating jurors and 6 alternates are present.
Yes.
May I inquire?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman, members of the jury, have you agreed upon a verdict? Yes. Thank you. May I see the papers? Mr. Foreman, have the verdict been placed in this envelope and have they been in your presence ever since? Yes.
I think I have them sped up. I do. Let us slow them down to normal speed. I'm going to move me too.
Mr. Foreman, on docket number 2282CR117001, murder in the second degree, what say you? Is the defendant at the bar guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
So say you, Mr. Foreman? So say you?
Sure.
No. Do you agree?
Yes.
Do all of you agree?
Yes.
Thank you.
Because that's always a little confusing, right? So say you, Mr. Foreman. If I were him, I wouldn't know either. and I watch this for fun.
002, what say is the defendant at the bar not guilty or guilty?
Not guilty.
Of.
Is not guilty or guilty about that charge or any lesser included charge?
Thank you.
Thank you. Specifically, number 5,
Oh, confusing.
operate under the influence of liquor by operating a motor vehicle with a blood alcohol level of 0.08 or greater. Correct?
Yes.
So say you, Mr. Foreman?
Guilty.
So say you all?
Yes.
003, what say is the defendant at the bar leaving the scene after accident resulting in death? Is the defendant not guilty or guilty?
Not guilty.
So say you, Mr. Foreman? So say you all? Jurors, hearken your verdict as the court records it. You, upon your oath, say the defendant on 001 is not guilty, on 002 is guilty of
I
operating.
know all of the screaming.
And 003 not guilty. Thank you.
All right, jurors, everybody please be seated. Jurors,
At least with that one, we got some audible confirmation of what the jurors were thinking. I'm sure they were really confused, and I'm sure that they wanted their actual verdict. Can you imagine going through, what was it, like 8 weeks of trial, and then having something go wrong on this day for anybody? I mean, it would just be wild. And the alternates, cheers to the alternates. Also, cheers to all of the jurors. Thank you. Thank you for doing all of the work that you've done. I am sure you are about to be inundated, if anybody knows who you are, with requests for interviews. Hey, if you happen to see this, I would love to chat with you. I would love to chat about what that was like, because it's a wild thing where you're with this group of people for 8 weeks and you can't talk about any of the things that have put you together in the same room. So, they did come out and speak to the supporters a little bit. I can show that if you want to, but mostly I wanted to have us see this, see the verdict, see the parts that were a little bit confusing, and chat a little bit about the overall thing of it all. Because on the one hand, it's like, whew, we're done. Great. Karen Reed doesn't have to go through this again. And that's good for her. The sentencing happened right away. I should probably skip ahead to the sentencing. They did decide to do the sentencing right away because she was convicted for the OUI. I think that makes sense. I think it made sense. It made sense to me why the defense would want that on there, because if that lesser included isn't on that second charge, it makes it even harder to come to a decision. This is just like whether you're talking the interviews or you're talking the retrograde extrapolation. At some point, she was behind the wheel of a car when probably she shouldn't have been. Okay. If that's the only thing, I don't think her or anybody on that defense team is going to look one way or another at that, because it's a misdemeanor charge. She's got a year of probation and has to take the standard DUI classes for a first-time DUI offender. My secondary reaction to that is, do all the cops next? Because they were also all driving while intoxicated. But it's reasonable. It gave the jury something that they could convict on that wasn't that was the one thing the Commonwealth proved, was that she was probably driving while having had maybe too many drinks. And Dad says a tragedy seems to be the guilty party, or parties will never face trial or justice. Yeah. Yeah. I don't That's what makes this so hard, is I do not think that there will be justice for John O'Keefe's family or his niece and nephew, because that's what's so frustrating about this, right? At least for me, because it didn't have to be this way. it did not have to be this way. If they had just done the investigation, then I don't know as Karen would have been through all of this, and I don't know that the town would have ended up so divided, because this has divided the town as well, and unfortunately, that is not a rift that is going to be easily mended with this. Um, it's really heartbreaking, and I hope that maybe I hope that when the dust settles, something will happen so that the family can get answers. I don't necessarily worry that we on the internet get the answers. I mean, we'd love to have them, but I'm not sure that it's for us to have. Um, but I feel like the family should get some answers, and we will see. There is a civil case that has been, I believe, paused while the criminal case was ongoing. But the O'Keefe family has filed civil charges. That they filed a lawsuit, and Karen is one of the folks in the lawsuit. So that's a whole different set of rules. That's a whole different case. Um, and we will see where that ends up going. But yeah, I don't think we're going to get the answers that we wanted um from all of this. And who knows? The FBI did the investigation into the investigation. They haven't gone forward with anything from that, but that may still come out of this as well. There's still a lot of questions. What we know for sure now is that the Commonwealth cannot come after her for any of these counts again. That part is done. Now, I will say I would highly suggest that Karen just avoid Canton at all costs, because I'm pretty sure if she strayed about 2 inches outside of a crosswalk, somebody would pick her up in the next year. Because there's a thing happening with that. So, but you know what? For me, now that this part is done, the nerves are done, we can all take a moment and just go, in its own way, this is why we have juries. This is why we have juries of our peers, because um, a lot of times they do come up with what I think is the right result. Not every time, but a lot of times this is a verdict that I can follow. I can understand how they got there. It makes sense to me. And, you know, the probation and the DUI classes is a win. It's better than any incarceration. It's better than any of that. What's she going to do now is the real question, because this has been her life for 3 years, is fighting these charges. She hasn't been at her job. I mean, I can't even imagine what it would be like to try and do reentry after something like this. Yeah, it's a lot. I am also interested, truly. I hope that we get at least a juror or two that would like to talk to somebody. Um, whether it's the news, whether it's the internet, whether they, write their own book. Don't be like Becky though. If you write a book, like actually write your book or hire a ghostwriter in the proper way. Absolutely that. Just if you need to know what not to do when writing a book or talking about your experience, I direct you to South Carolina and Jailhouse Becky. Um, don't do that. But I know a lot of folks would be interested in having the conversations. I personally am most interested in what the alternates went through and what the alternates are thinking, because keep in mind, the alternates went through the entire trial And then for all of the deliberations, they had to sit there, they had to stay there, they had to be in court, but not in the deliberation room and not talking about the case with anybody. So that's got to be a wild experience. I honestly think if I was an alternate juror in this particular case, I would be so mad. I would be so mad. So mad. So mad. But I'm not. I don't think they'll ever put me on jury duty at this point. I don't think that'll ever happen. Mom coming in with a question: does the murder of O'Keefe now just become a cold case? Pretty much, because now I am quoting EDB and the other attorneys on the internet, which is that because they spent so much time and energy going after Karen Reed, this is the other big tragedy and big downfall of this, right? Because the Commonwealth put so much time, effort, and energy into trying to put Karen Reed away for these charges, that leads to doubt baked in. So even if, and the investigation was so bad. So even if something comes to light that would point towards one person or another, unfortunately, I don't think the Commonwealth is going to do anything about it because there's doubt just baked in. Because how do you bring somebody to trial in that way when they can immediately be like, well, you thought it was this person for 3 years? Now, if somebody gets a what hasn't really been explored in any of the places I'm hanging out in is what happens if somebody ends up with a crisis. What happens if somebody grows a conscience? Because I don't think this was an accident, or I do think it was an accident, but I think everybody's just kind of kept what really happened to themselves. Somebody out there knows, somebody who is probably named in this trial knows what happened. So I think in order for anything else to come from this, they would have to choose to throw themselves under the bus with a confession and evidence and all of that. I think that's the only way we're ever really going to know, because even if a private investigator or something like that finds more information, I don't know as any jury would convict anybody in this case, because I think the trust has been broken on that. So that's my thoughts. I don't know. I don't know what's going to end up happening from here, but I do know that as far as we are concerned, chat, guys, I did it. I covered a trial from gavel to gavel in the best way I know how at this moment in time, which was a fun experience. Will we do others? Yes. I had a friend yesterday asking me all about Diddy and the Menendez brothers, and I think I'm missing one. And I didn't have a lot of answers because I've just been listening to this the whole time. So thank you, Leah. Yes, cheers. Cheers. We did it. We did it. I did a lot of these while I was recovering from surgery, which was great practice, and a great way to get my energy up. And now I do know that I've got a couple of shows planned for the future. I need to reach back out to one person who gave me a solid maybe, but that person happens to be super duper busy, and that will require me to do a bit more prep for the show. But trust me, I will announce that from the rooftops. Maybe I'll hire a plane. No, I won't, but I would think about it. If that's actually something that comes to fruition, because I would be really interested in that. But now I ask you, chat. You guys have been great. You guys have been hanging with me this whole time. Oh, which reminds me, hi, welcome. If you're new and you've had a great time here, check out some of the older shows and do the YouTube-y things, do the liking and the subscribe, do all the things that keep the algorithm and the YouTube gods happy, because it also makes me happy, and my family can attest to the fact that I do better shows too. It's just an energy thing. But yeah, so now where do we go from here, guys? What do you want me to cover next? As long as it's politics, pop culture, and courts, I'm woefully behind. I did not watch the Tonys this year, but we can do a little. We can just pretend the insanity of the world doesn't exist for a little while. I should swoop, actually, before I continue on this, and I will be out of your hair shortly. Don't talk while the swoop is playing, Aurora. You know better. No, I will be out of your hair in a little while so that we can all get on with our evenings and go catch up with all of the other folks that we have been following. And catch up, I mean, there's also family and friends, stuff like that you probably want to talk to. But I do want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what we are thinking of for next. And all right, let's see what Dad's got. Likely an accidental death involving Chloe the dog and the garage floor, with a core bunch of the Canton police aware and complicit in a cover-up, combined with framing Karen Reed as a scapegoat. I think that's probably I am going to demand proof of life of Chloe until I get it. The internet does not forget. The internet does not forget, and I'm going to demand proof of life of Chloe until I get it. If I get it, I will share with you, chat, because that's how I roll. But until I get it, yeah, I'm going to demand proof of life of Chloe, because I worry about that. Also, can we take a minute for two different trials, Murdaugh and this one, where it was the dog that told the truth? Like, guys, hug your puppers when we get to hug your puppers. Now, if you've got a pupper, if you've got a kitty, hug the kitty. We have not yet had a cat tell on anybody, but it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time before we have a cat that tells on somebody. Is a cat going to tell on anybody in Diddy? I have questions. Who's next? We have cat. I should just make a list at some point of all of the pets that have told on people. So, but yeah, we've got, I mean, the world is the world and is kind of falling apart. And, I'm just a little dumpster fire going, everything is fine. Everything is fine. So, but we do have a couple of shows in the future that are going to be coming up. But I want to hear from you guys. Leave it in the comments. Drop it in. And we're having just all of the chats tonight. Dogs are good dogs. Even good cats keep their secret. That is true. That is true. The cats will keep their secrets. The cats will keep their secrets. Mom, are there trial lawyers that have benefited from theater training and or speech writing? Excellent question. Hey, attorneys. Hi. You want to come chat with me about this? Because Mandy is you if you've been here with me since the beginning, you've seen Mandy from time to time. But she always used to tell her mom, who is an attorney, that trial is just theater, but different. So, would it help? Yes. How many of them have taken it? I don't know. But I would love to see, I would love to chat with an attorney about that, because that would be no, go away. Me hitting all the wrong buttons. He may have, I mean, Jackson, because I thought Jackson may have. Jackson also has the benefit of being from LA. And now this is actually a great segue because I do want to talk about this. It is in connection with this trial and stuff like that. But I also want us to take a moment to remember that not all defense attorneys are bad. Sometimes they end up with clients that we would like to see go to jail for all time. Jackson, and this is Alan Jackson is actually the perfect example. We've seen him at his best, I think, in this particular trial. But he was one of Harvey Weinstein's first defense attorneys, and he was Kevin Spacey's defense attorney. So, and I've got some thoughts on those particular humans, but also being a defense attorney, I feel like, and this is just me, pure my vision of how I think things are portrayed in popular culture or what have you, where we like to think that prosecutors are always the heroes. And we like to think that defense attorneys are always the villains because the defense attorneys are doing really the same kind of service as the prosecution, but it's different. And why do I say that? Because in this country, still, even though some police officers in Canton would like to have forgotten it, and some very high up people in our current national government also seem to have forgotten this, we presume innocence until proven guilty. If the government is going to take away your freedom, they have to prove beyond any reasonable doubt that you should, in fact, be locked up. And it is up to the defense attorneys in this country to do that. It is up to the defense attorneys to ensure that that presumption of innocence comes in. And it is up to us as current or future jurors of anything to remember that the government has to prove it. We cannot just assume that because somebody had handcuffs put on them and was arrested and a grand jury or something found that they could be indicted. We cannot assume by that alone that they are in fact guilty. Make the government prove it. And if they don't, not guilty. Doesn't mean factually innocent, although in this particular case, I think she was. It just means the government didn't prove it. That was a bit of a soapbox. I'm likely to get on them about this. Yeah, but Matlock, Lincoln Lawyer, Perry Mason, lots of hero defense attorneys. Yes, they are out there. They are out there. Has anybody, okay, pop culture side note, record scratch moment. Has anybody seen the new Matlock? Because I haven't, but I kind of am here for Kathy Bates playing Matlock. So I don't know. Tell me if I should watch that. And before we go down that rabbit hole, do we do a TV night? I don't know. Let me know in the socials what you want me to cover next. Given that we've had a verdict and we've all gathered here tonight on a Wednesday, I don't know if I will be back on Sunday. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Honestly, it's going to depend on how tomorrow goes, how the rest of my week goes, and what we're feeling like. If you want me to come back on Sunday, if you've got a show idea, drop it in the comments, drop it in the chat, and we'll get back together on Sunday because it's really okay. All right, Leah's saying yes, she's seen it. It's good. Okay. Maybe I'll check that out at some point. So yeah, maybe we'll get together back on Sunday, maybe not. But please, 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 it will help me if I know what you all want to chat about. So let's see. Do we need to take a news break? Does Sunday just need to be a boring news day? I don't know. You let me know. You let me know. You can let me know on the socials. I'm the Aurora H. White on all the socials. I'm not on the Bird app. Don't look for me on the Bird app. It turned into just a hot mess and I couldn't. So, but I'm on BlueSky. It's all in the description on the video where I am. So we will see. If we do not feel like getting together on Sunday, I probably will. But I'm gonna give myself room and grace to go, you know what? I did a show on Wednesday. I'm good. But assuming we get together on Sunday, let me know because we have this is done. This is done. If we need to go back to court, you tell me. That's why we're here. I am circling. I need to go into a room that has air that is moving because my office is not, and it's the damp. But anyway, thank you all for joining me. Thank you for being here. Thanks for sticking with me on this wild ride. And we will catch up soon. As always, everybody, I shall grab the drink because we are going to do a little cheers as we do this evening. Be well, do good. Remember to bark a lot, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for joining us for another episode of The Unfiltered Tea. Don't forget to hit that like button. If you have a story you want our unfiltered take on, go ahead and drop it in the comments, and we will see you next time.